As you see that glare right there, that's what I'm trying to avoid. I think I might have to start getting me a manager for these. All right. So today I want to talk to you about some of these global macroeconomic trends and what I see going on and why it's very important to pay attention. I think that we've been caught up focusing on financial literacy for a very long time, right? And just understanding these financial tools, how to utilize them, and things of that nature, right? And I also want to go into this crypto report that's by the PIP, which gives or takes in a recording anonymous confessions for people that's in the crypto market. But there's something bigger that I want to go on, and some of these trends of why we are in the place that we're in the first place. So we stand at the crossroads when it comes to a new economic paradigm, right, which is shifting right beneath us at this very moment. There's a reason why gambling and cryptocurrency and artificial intelligence, right, are popping up. And these are not isolated phenomena right there. They're all interconnected through a deeper systematic tensions that's happening, right? One of those things is called financial nihilism, right? If you familiar with the philosophy of nihilism, right, it's essentially the idea when you think about everything as being dark and in despair, as if there is no hope, right, for the future or the world. And a lot of people get caught up in nihilism in the way that they think. They become nihilists, right? They think that everything is bleak, right, when it comes to the outlook on the world, and there's no reason for them to move forward with anything, right, or even try. But when we talk about financial nihilism, right, it's the same thing that people think that the financial system is all rigged, it's all set up, it's only for the rich to get richer, right? They don't see the system getting any better. So, therefore, they take on a very despairing look when it comes towards getting rich or building wealth. That's what this current generation is going through. Financial nihilism, right, is being spread throughout the psyches. Now, I want you all to let me know if you all have some of that same feeling as well when it comes to financial nihilism, right? Whether you wanted to or not. I grew up in a world thinking about that in the black community because we was always taught, and it is true, right? We grew up in a white man's world. He runs the banking system, right? He controls the education system. He controls a lot of the upward mobility, right? And so, therefore, when you thought about the 1% and who controls the world banks and who controls all these things, you would think about, man, there ain't no way that we could ever have control of the system and we could ever be billionaires and take over these things because everything was set up. You don't get loans. We know that they don't we get funding to black businesses that's less than 1% on men and women. So when we think about, right, the world, we always were economic nihilists and we always had financial nihilists, right? And financial nihilism in the specific black and brown community. Now, what was a cure to that was the ideas of decentralization. It meant that, wait a minute, I've always told that they control the banking system. But what you're telling me is that we have an opportunity with decentralized finance to control it ourselves. But before we even get there, what was our other ideas of hope? Our other ideas of hope were things like group economics, as I see some people talking about it, right? But not only that, a nation within a nation. We talk about it all the time. We talk about Black Wall Street. We look at pre-existing frameworks to say, wait a minute, maybe we can do it too. And then a lot of people got looking at the trauma that happened back then and saying, wait a minute, we can't do it because they burnt that down, right? We go to Raleigh, North Carolina, and we see where they burnt down another town out there when there was times where there was economic prosperity in the Black community, right? Each and every time it was traumatically torn down. Not just something to where we weren't managing our money correctly. It was literally burnt down. It was literally airplanes. It was literally our own government going against us, right? And destroying what we had built. So when we think about Black Wall Street and we think about our opportunities and things that we built, it has a very dark and despairing look. And what this does is has an effect, right, on the way that we operate. So what is the way that we operate when we start thinking about how to build wealth? It makes us gamble more, right? Because we want something with a higher risk. We're not as risk adverse anymore because we said, well, if the game is rigged, then I need to make leaps. So gambling is something that we got into, right? Y'all know, like I know, my grandma, she played the lottery down there every day hoping to win because she was a financial nihilist as well. She didn't believe in the upward mobility or that we was going to have this Black America and we was going to be able to take over, right? Even to this day, so many people are saying that, damn, man, if you build it, they will destroy it. There's all this trauma that exists around finances, right? And exists around economics. So not only that, we fast forward, it's a story that we're missing, though, that we do not share enough and we do not share a lot. So what is that story that we missing? I want to share with you on my screen. Let me see if I can. This not a presentation. All right, let me see if I can get this video up and I'll share with those who are on YouTube this video that I want you all to take a look at and tell me what you see, right? This is a video from the Nation of Islam, which I'm sure a lot of you all never knew about. And it's talking about the economic model of the Nation of Islam in the 1960s. Now, these type of videos have been kept from you for a reason, right? So give me a second. Let me share this right here. It says the economic program of the Nation of Islam. Oh, I got to share my screen. Not this one. Boom. All right, there you go. Also share audio. Okay, so y'all can see this right here. Chat, y'all can see this? If y'all can see this, press 1. I want to make sure before I press play on this. So listen to this.
We'll show you exactly what.
Let me start it from the top.
Move right along, brothers and sisters. I would like to just read to you a little.
First of all, what you're seeing is, if you're on YouTube, then what you're seeing is Nation of Islam Savior's Day, and you're seeing a beautiful, 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 beautiful sea of melanated Black women who are called the MGT, right? Muslim Girl Training. And then you have the FOI, which is the fruit of Islam. And what you're watching is the traditional uniforms, right? So let's get back into it. I'll press play. I'll give you all a play-by-play in case you don't know what you see.
List of some of the enterprises of the Nation of Islam. You know, this nation that they talk about that operates mom and pop shops. We'll show you exactly what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is truly doing. Salam Restaurant, the Muslim import stores, the Muslim fish house, the Shabazz grocery store, the Shabazz bakery.
As we go, and somebody write down all of these businesses that he's talking about, right? He said, first of all, he starts off by saying that they talking about, we got these little mom and pop shops. So he's talking about the chatter on the outside, right? Now, this is in the 1960s, right? You weren't taught about this in school. They didn't show you these pictures. It's not in the history books whatsoever because they don't want this programmed in your mind that it was so close, right? That it wasn't all the way in Black Wall Street. That this was just in the 1960s. Same time, we talking about fighting for civil rights. We never talk about the story of the Nation of Islam having its own economy. So let's get into it. Hold on, what did he say? The brother say, let me start that over. He say,
the Muslim import stores, the Muslim fish house, the Shabazz grocery store, the the Shabazz Bakery and Coffee Shop, Temple Number 2 Clothing Store and Office Building, the new sales and office building on 78th Street.
You say the new sales and office building. Wow, look at that building.
The Guarantee Bank and Trust Company.
The Guarantee Bank and Trust Company.
Progressive Land Developer.
Progressive Land Development.
Good Foods Incorporated.
Good Foods Incorporated.
Which is meat, produce, and eggs.
Meat, produce, eggs.
Chicago Lamb Packers.
Chicago Lamb Packers. That's the meat company.
A national trucking system.
A national trucking system. Come on with it.
An aviation department of Gary, Indiana.
An aviation department of Gary, Indiana. Aviation. We talking about planes. Come on.
Muhammad Speaks newspaper plant, which is
Muhammad Speaks newspaper, which is the media company side of it.
A cold storage and warehouse. Over 200 apartment units.
200 apartment units. Come on with it.
Not to speak of the single family dwellings that he has put his followers in.
Plus the single family dwellings that they have.
Farms in Michigan, farms in Georgia, farms in Alabama. Over 150 temples in North America, Bermuda, Jamaica, and Honduras. Over 46 Muhammad universities of Islam.
46 Muhammad universities of Islam. Those are schools. 46 schools. Come on, man. Stop it.
In the planning stage, a 500-bed hospital, a new Islamic university, the Temple Number 2 renovations, and the new university at the Temple Temple Number 2 on Stony Island Avenue. The Cottage Grove redevelopment plan, which runs from 78th Street to 87th Street on the east side of Chicago, east side of Cottage Grove, in the design stage. The Phoenix, Arizona development proposal, which is also in the design stage. Salam Snack Shop, Your Supermarket, Shabazz Bakery, Shabazz Barbershop, Shabazz Restaurant, Capital Cleaners, National Clothing Factory, National Fez Factory, and again residential homes.
Come on now, clothing factory, farms, barbershops, snack shops, bakeries.
This is what our leader and teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is leading us to.
This wasn't Malcolm. This was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Shout out to Malcolm. You know, that was 50 years ago. But this is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's economic blueprint and program, which is why you can understand why people loved him so much, because he had all of this going on. This is what he had going on. He was housing people. He had an entire economic plan and model. It wasn't just preaching. It wasn't just teaching. It wasn't just talking. This is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Come on now. Look at those. Now, look at this picture right here. Look at these people here. You got all these beautiful black people in here, right? And there ain't no fighting, ain't no disrespect, ain't no going at each other, no nothing. That is a nation. I'm talking about a group of people glowing, learning together under one idea, following a leader. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And then we fast forward, and where we are today, all we want to do is fight, bicker, and debate. None of that matters. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I be seeing people trying to invoke debates from me, bro. I don't care. I think it's It's the I wish I did care sometimes so I can be passionate about going at certain people, but I just simply don't care. When I think about real work and I think about the real world and the real enemy, right, of progress, winning something for social media don't mean nothing. It ain't about having a conscious community. It's about us having a nation within a nation, and redeveloping, right, that nation and getting back to that top. And how do you do that? Now, I think it's going to require a network nation, people who have those things coming under one ideology, coming under one vision, so that it becomes a sustainable system that maintains, protects, and expands itself.
Brothers and sisters, I know what we are all awaiting, and that is the message from our leader and teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So in closing, I would like to say just this, that the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad have distributed in the hells of North America during this past year over 34 million Muhammad Speaks newspapers.
34 million. This is before social media, right? So that's like saying he got 34 million views almost, but instead they had 34 million newspapers sold, right? That's a booming media company. We talk about New York Times, right? We talk about the Washington Post and all of these things. Man, the Nation of Islam always had a media company distributing the truth all across the planet, right? And that's important, but we never treated it like that, right? We never had the civil rights movement applaud what the Nation of Islam was doing and a lot of those leaders. So they led us astray, and they led us to financial castration to where it took our nuts of what we was building. And then it just lead to integration and assimilation. Come on, man.
As a foundation, we have Muhammad's temples in every city of America. We have temples in Bermuda.
He said they got Muhammad temples in every city in America, and I believe he's talking about major cities.
Jamaica, Honduras, and even...
As you see, he said Honduras. You got to remember, even Dr. Sebi was an FOI in the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So Honorable Elijah Muhammad had him. He had Malcolm X, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, right? You come that same tree, you get Muhammad Ali, right? You get a full branch that, for me personally, and not even personally, just factually, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the most impactful leader, right? Messenger, black man of all time. It is what it is. And I'm talking about his body of work, his nation, his teachings, right? The impact that he had, that lineage is what it is.
In England. Right. Educationally, we have Muhammad Universities of Islam in 46 cities. This man is truly building the foundation for a nation.
How could you not want to be a part of that, number one?
In transportation, we have a fleet of cross-country tractor trailers, the most modern. We have a fixed base operation, air aviation department in Gary, Indiana.
And that's so beautiful. He's showing the planes that they got. Man, you have to know real history, man. You have to study, and you have to go in and find what you don't want you to see, right? Because this should inspire all of Black America.
Now we know that America also has many aircraft that, although excellent in design and suitable for use, they are grounded. We are already in contact with America to purchase some of these.
That's the thing. So in this same video, which I'm gonna stop sharing for now, he talks about it being a $50 million, right, economy at the time, which if you account for inflation, Now we're talking about somewhere upward between 399 million or $400 million in today's money. So that's a $400 million, right? Now you have to think about how the enemy would then look at that and be like, we can't afford to allow them to continue to build in this manner, because what would you get, right? You get a multi billion-dollar infrastructure, right? This is the 60s. This has been $1 trillion. So they look in the future, they see that sort of trajectory, and they like, no, we can't let that happen, right? So of course they were incentivized for this nation to fall. It wasn't just rhetoric and conversation. They said that they contacted America about owning planes, right? This was really playing chess. So when we think about the sacred history of Black America, why isn't this put into the context of it ever? They want you to have economic nihilism. They want you to have financial nihilism, to think that nothing is possible, to think that we can't get it. Because the thing is, once you believe it and you have it as a belief, right, it becomes a part of your belief. Like, I seen it, I heard it, I know about it. Then that's when you continue to reproduce it. But you can't reproduce what you have not had as envisioned, that you ain't been mentally and spiritually impregnated with. You understand me? So they try to keep you away from that and keep you short-term thinking with a mental myopia, to where you have the inability, right, to think long-term, to think with imagination, and to process information unless it's for short-term thinking and decision-making. So anything that comes with a long-term vision, you cut off. So we become more interested in conflict and problems, things that we can put our mind to, things that we can control immediately. We try to focus on gambling and things of that nature, saying, well, let's get a little high risk, versus the slow development of progress over time with compound interest. Come on now. Come on now. Man, that video, man, I go to that video often, because to me, that's the aspect of, the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that we don't get into enough, the economic side, right? And when I think about my journey into, teaching financial literacy and now going into even more economic literacy, this is what started me off. This is what gave me a foundation, right? You can go to one of my first videos that I was interviewed like 6 years ago, right? And I was telling them that you can look at, let's strip away the religious aspect of the Nation of Islam and look at the economic aspect of it, right? And then you have to put him up there with other leaders in this country as some of the men who built America. There's a video that you go watch on Amazon Prime. It's called The Men Who Built America. So they show the Rockefellers and things of that nature, right? And they talk about how they built the oil industries, right? And how they built all of these different industries. But they don't show Black men, right? But when we talk about the foundation and the development of America, our stories are not told like we ain't got no giants. And it's disrespectful, because then we don't believe in ourselves and we don't believe it's possible. And then that's when this nihilism, this despair, this dark thinking around these subjects happen. And then that's when, instead of focusing on this development of it over time, right, we only want to gamble. We're not risk adverse. We don't think that we have a culture to maintain and preserve. So all we want to do is crash out, because in the hopes that we have everything to gain when everything falls, right? Which is somewhat true. If you don't have anything, then of course in the rebuilding stage, you have the most to gain, because that's when you can have your opportunity, which we are existing in a huge wealth transfer right now. But let me go deeper into this subject a little bit. So you have the gambling is being pushed everywhere, as you can see, right? If you go on social media, the rappers are pushing it, the podcasts are pushing it. Why? Why are people favoring towards that? Well, you have to understand globalism a little bit, right? And once you get into globalism, then you understand why these things have been happening and why they will continue to prevail. And then how that goes into the crypto market. All right, so let's get into this. If you're a flat earther, then it's flatism, because globalism refers to globus, meaning sphere around mass, right? Globalism refers to the idea or policy of interconnected and integration amongst nations across economic, political, cultural, and environmental dimensions, emphasizing interdependence and global context. It promotes free trade, open market, right? Interconnected supply chains. So let's think about it like this. How many of you all ever shopped at Temu? Right? Go ahead. I know y'all done shopped at Temu. They have a whole house for $1.95. Right? We live in a borderless world to where we're no longer just looking at locally who should we support. Now, Black people, we've almost damn near always been globalists in that way, right? Because we don't just look locally on who we should support, right? But if instead of buying something from somebody in your neighborhood, you're buying it all the way from China because you can source it cheaper, right? It's free trade. You can do whatever you want to. Not only that, you also have traditions, ideas, and cultural practices on TikTok. The young Caucasian kids and Asian kids and brown kids got the same lingo as the Black kids that grew up in the streets or from the hood. The cultural exchange, right? They're getting so much better at it right now to where it even sounds like it flows, right? This is part of the ideas of globalism, that they're not just focusing on, number one, American ideas or American-made products, right? It's global. Even when we look at the music industry, right? You have Afro beats and things of that nature, and then you have Korean K-pop that is now having some little, but some influence in America. Because it's not just American rap music and things of that nature. We're taking traditions and we're taking music and influences from outside of America. We're buying products from outside of America as well, right? So it should be a good thing because you should be able to get things at a cheaper price, right? But it does have unintended effects as well, which is why you're also going to see a lot of nationalism. Now, for the rich, let's get into this part. I guess I'll just read this first. Because it goes into, of course, technology, political cooperation. You get things like the United Nations, right? But the benefits are unevenly distributed. Of course, America may benefit more because it's a wealthier nation, right? You get erosion of local traditions and them being dominated by the American influence and ideas. So they don't want to practice their local tradition and ideas no more, right? Because they want to be amongst the popular, right? So therefore, globalism can sometimes erode those local identities and traditions, right? You get over industrialization and resource depletion at global scale. So therefore, it gets environmental exploitation. If you can see what's going on, and what's the Congo? Now, when we look at globalism versus nationalism, which is the debate between the economic globalism and nationalism that defines our time that we in now. So you say you wish the comments was off. Let me get those off. You can always come over here to YouTube. I'm gonna cut that off for a second. So it's a globalism key selling point is affordability, right? You get cheaper goods because you can leverage global supply chains. So if I want to buy these hats and I want to get them printed or constructed, I can go to Mexico and I can get the hats constructed from scratch. And then I don't have to buy somebody's blanks that's in the US. I can get them to make me exactly what I want, right? If I want the beat to be shorter or longer or more curved, right? If I want, design on the top, I can go to Mexico or I can go to China and have stuff shipped over here. So therefore, right, I can control my price and my margins that I get my products on. So I can have higher profits by doing that. So that can be a good thing for entrepreneurs and that can be a good thing for consumers as well. right? Then you have nationalism on the other hand, advocates for economic sovereignty, right? Which can go into a higher price of goods. So when you look at tariffs, charging other countries, right, higher taxes and things of that nature on goods that they are selling to America, right? But you're not really charging the countries versus you're charging the people because now you have to pay extra. If you try to order something from London, sometimes in different places, right? You have to charge, you get charged an extra tax on those goods and the tariffs and things of that nature. So now it decentralizes you from wanting to shop from there. And instead, you're looking for local options to shop instead. The only problem is that America are the biggest consumers in the world. We buy from everybody, right? When you go look at the amount of shoes, the amount of goods, the amount of clothes that we're buying from China, right? They love us because we are the biggest consumers in the world. And then you go to the Black community, and we're a larger part of that consumer percentage. So this is where you get a lot of the issues when you start to boggle it down. When currently America is pushing nationalism, saying that America for Americans, right? Let's focus on us, right? Let's focus on reshoring versus offshoring, where you have all your businesses offshore, right? To where you do your production, manufacturing, and things of that nature in China or India or Canada or Mexico. They saying, let's do it in America, right? Now, whether that's a sustainable thing that they're going to actually be able to do, I don't think so. Right. But this is a threat. This is the idea, which is why you're going to see a lot of people pushing also towards more nationalism and their identity, right? Patriotism. They're trying to get that back to all-time high. But let's get back to the economics of it all. Let me pull up the rest of my notes because this is about to get good. That's where the good part starts to kick in. So with the economic nationalism, you're gonna get higher price goods. So if you're willing to pay more, then that's what you should vote for. Now with Donald Trump, that's what people voted for. They voted for economic nationalism, right? Which I don't look particularly as a bad thing, but that phase of nationalism, higher tariffs and things of that nature won't be good on the pockets of the people. Now the people, unfortunately, are not making that much money, right? Because you have a thing called wage suppression, right? So the rich was taking all of these high interest loans or they was buying credit and debt when it was cheap. And now they have all of this money that they've made because the rich get richer, of course. But as the price of living goes up, right? If you want to focus on nationalism, the price of living will go up. The price of inflation has hit us criminally, it hit us in America. So the price of these things continue to rise, yet the wages are not rising with the prices. And it's not rising with the cost of assets because the rich were looking at how can they buy assets, right? At a particular time, these assets were a little cheap, but because the rich weren't jumping into the traditional things, they was looking where they can buy these assets to store their money because you had a unprecedented time to where we were unsure about the future, regulation, things of that nature. So they buying all the houses because they looking at de-dollarization. If the dollar going down, then let me buy the houses, right? Let me buy into the stocks. Let me buy into the cryptos and things of that nature. And so then you start seeing asset prices rise. Now it's at that point to where a high wage earner, right? By the time they get up into age where they want to buy a house, it's damn near unaffordable. And if it continues to go in this trend way, then your hard work won't allow you to buy the assets so that you can be wealthy and comfortable in the future. Then we ask ourselves, what is money in the first place? And this is something that's uncertain that nobody can directly answer. Because when we think about getting rid of the dollar and they talking about adding on what they treasuries, saying that let's trade in some of our gold for Bitcoin because America is trying to get its debt down so it can decrease its dependency on other nations, right? So they looking at, well, what if we add Bitcoin to our balance sheet? Well, if we owe trillions And if we buy Bitcoin and we prop that up to go to trillions, then what we owe versus the assets that we own will equal out, right? When we can get our debt down. So this is something they're looking at doing. And how do we know? Because the largest 4 owners of Bitcoin, all American, right? Except Satoshi Nakamoto, which we don't know if he is American or not, right? So you got BlackRock, you got Michael Saylor, right? You got, of course, America as one of the highest owners of cryptocurrency. And so we saying that, damn, maybe they set all this thing up. Maybe when it was going through the financial crisis, they said, we see the dollar going down. We're in a 9/11 scenario, right? We're in an emergency. How can we keep our money up? Well, mathematical purity, such as Bitcoin, props up. Now you have every single person on that list, from Michael Saylor, right, to BlackRock, to Donald Trump. They all changed their tune on Bitcoin. All of them changed their tune on Bitcoin. They was calling it a scam, right? They were saying unreliable, it's a con. And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump went from, I don't trust Bitcoin, I think it's a scam, to I'm going to be the crypto-friendly president, the first crypto-friendly president. He's now an advocate. He's now a crypto bro. And not only that, he has companies that dabble in cryptocurrency and the blockchain. So we've seen a complete 180. JB Diamond was talking crazy about it. Now, a whole time, of course, they was buying up crypto, but they couldn't buy too much because then you would know, like, wait a minute, if they buying all this, then let me buy some. So during this time, you got to do as the rich do. You got to follow the money. The thing about following the money, like copy trading, which is where a person can copy the trades of somebody else that is good at doing something, and then that person takes a percentage of the money that they traded for you. So in cryptocurrency, you can do this on platforms right now. So let's say that if this person has a high win rate, man, every time they trade it, they win at 80% of their trades. You can connect your wallet to theirs, right? They get 10% of your winnings. You keep 90%. And they have AUM, which is assets under management, which is your money, which goes into this automation phase, which I think is going to be heavier in the future, copy trading, right? I don't think that it needs to be there completely yet. But if I'm looking at trends, I can see this being a huge trend for traders moving forward. Now, I'll get into some of the other ways that people are winning in cryptocurrency right now, right? Which one of them is, of course, holding for a long time. Those people have done very well because through the ups and downs, it always came back up. So those people are winning, right? There was time when Cardano was down. It eventually came back up. It was a time when Bitcoin was down. If you go through the 4-year cycles of Bitcoin, it goes up, it goes down, it goes parabolic, it goes down, it goes parabolic, it goes down, it goes up again. So when somebody talks about a crash in Bitcoin is the best gift of Bitcoin because it follows a very clear cycle when it comes to Bitcoin. So that is the phase that people usually are accumulating. But right now, Bitcoin is at $101,000. So now you have to break it down to Satoshis, right? So instead of saying that, yo, let me go buy me a brick of gold, people are saying, let me go get me 10% of a Bitcoin. Let me go get me 100,000 Satoshis, right? Because it still is following, of course, the price of Bitcoin. So if you want some exposure, you can do it like that. You can do it in stocks, right? You can do it in other correlated assets, ETFs, and things of that nature to keep that exposure. Because what you want to do right now is basically treat Bitcoin like gold in a savings account, right? So the money that you're making from your job, you need to take a percentage of that. And this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just entertainment. So let me entertain you. So what you do is you would take a percentage of that and you will put it into Bitcoin. Why? Because number one, it's not safe for the banks, right? The banks don't give you a high enough return for you to keep your money in there, earn a wage, and by the time you're ready, you're able to buy assets such as a house. Even cars are so damn expensive right now, right? So instead of people owning cars, right? This goes into the token economy and the access economy. And the access economy, right, is saying that people would rather share. Now ask yourself this. How many of you all have went and think about how big this has become, right? And people going buying thrift shopping. Thrift shopping is huge. Now, I've been talking about this for a while because the access economy essentially looks at things and saying the younger generation is focused on eco-sustainability. They don't like fast fashion, right? They don't like the fact that these companies are just making things, and by the time they order it, they hit their door, the trend is shifted to something else, and they want something different. So instead of buying something, they want to borrow something, right? So going to the thrifting is basically borrowing, taking the existing clothes you have, selling it back for a percentage so that somebody else can buy it again. So I would say, especially if you are a clothing company, you should focus on making classic things that people will want to wear over and over and over. Number one, fast fashion is going to die out. Number one, it's not sustainable for the younger generation and their financial practices and their financial consciousness. So what I'm saying is that people are not going to be buying cars, not going to be buying houses. Now, we already have models such as, of course, Airbnb. You can already lease to own, or you can already just lease and rent a house, right? You can always rent a car, things of that nature. That market, right, becomes bigger when you got Uber instead of owning a car. Like myself, I don't own a car, right? I've been Ubering for the last 5+ years, right? Just utilizing that to get around. I will use your car and then I have a driver that gets me around, right? So instead of me owning a car, owning the maintenance and everything that comes along with it, what is Elon Musk doing? You now have the ability to buy you a fleet of cabs. These cabs that you own, that you service, and you take care of. People will be going out there, hopping in the cab, right, taking a ride, right, and then that car returns back to you to service. So now you get to automate that process, and these are the new business opportunities of the future. Thinking about things that you can automate as services for other people for assets that they cannot afford, but services that they still need. Y'all following me right now? I still got a little bit of that stuffiness going on. I'm trying to breathe through it all. So I know I'm in here cooking. I know it's hot in this kitchen right now, man. You feel me? I know we in here cooking. All right. So assets continue to remain unaffordable. Wages are not going up. So let's talk about this. You know what human capital is? Human capital is essentially the value of you. It's the value of your work, right? This country was founded off human stock. Of course, slave labor, bodies, those bodies, right, based on the value of your ability to move those bodies represented your wealth because it represented your power, your energy output. It's always been about energy in this country, right? The first batteries of this country was the black body. You plug that into a plantation. If you got 100 slaves, then you can calculate their output and their human capital of that stock. You'll buy these bodies based on the amount of work and the output that they can do and their productivity. It represents your wealth, right? Your ability to manage these bodies. And then, of course, that goes into horsepower, right? So people would then get horses. Then that goes into the steam engine. So then people will get cars because now you got transportation, you got fast information, right? You can do transport, things of that nature. Then it goes into, of course, the railroads, right? So now the railroads can take large groups of goods and people across lines much faster, right? So now it creates these interconnected networks. So each one of these things represent a power output. You manage your humans, you manage your horsepower, right? Which is energy output, which is your work overtime, right? Then you talking about first, second, third, fourth industrial revolutions, right? Then as each one of these technological shifts happen, the wealth, right? And your power dynamic shifts based on your ability to manage that power and the output of that power, right? You following along with me? You catching me right now? So when we think about that, we fast forward to 2025, and you realize that the dollar is backed by the blood, sweat, and tears of the American people, right? So the dollar, people say, what is the dollar backed by? It's backed by you. It's backed by the citizens of the United States of America, right? And it's backed by their work. It's backed by their output. The problem around the world right now is productivity is down. So you're not getting that much work from your human capital. So you have the United States of America as a corporation, right? They have the citizens that they have, millions and hundreds of millions of citizens. The dollar is backed by the output of those citizens, right? And the work that they have. But if productivity goes down, right? And you have the rich who have been getting richer, right? Right now, there's a war between the boomers and the millennials. And the war essentially is that the boomers hold mostly all of the wealth, and the millennials are looking at like, damn, y'all got the houses, I can't afford a house. Now, unfortunately, our generation, we don't have a previous generation of boomers who's going to pass down assets. So when we talk about generational wealth, it was always looked at the assets that you own. So your family's supposed to have assets under management, right? These are the assets that they own so that therefore they can pass down. So that these assets are going to continue to increase in value. So if these assets increase in value and you pass to the next generation, then their goal is to maintain that asset and then accumulate more on top of that by leveraging that asset, right? So if we are not seeing wage increase, then that next generation can't afford to own an asset of their own, so they have to wait to inherit something, or they become financial nihilists, saying that, man, this is a despairing outlook on the future of the economy, so they gamble. So things like that, riskier bets, become more attractive to them. So gambling, everybody looking at gambling like, man, this country is set up. It's gamble. So this is why that's booming right now. And it's been booming for a while. So it's why gambling is big in the hood. You roll them dice, right? You feel like you can have a come up. So now we look at cryptocurrency. Who was cryptocurrency most popular when it came out? If you didn't know, young black men were the ones who were accumulating the most crypto when it came out. But those who didn't understand it, those who didn't get in it, they was talking bad about young black men. Right? They was talking bad about it. Because those young black men look at it and say, well, look, I don't think I'm not going to be inherited a house. The rich is not going to increase their wages because then they get less money. So instead of increasing wages, they go into the age of AI. Oh, now we about to start cooking. Now we about to start cooking. We about to start cooking. Well, we talking about the age of AI. What is age of AI? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Keys? I'm glad you asked. Artificial intelligence, because they need to replace the human, right? They said, we don't want to pay people more, so let's replace people more. Oh, well, how did that work? We don't want to increase their wages because that decreases our wealth. So you get somebody like an Elon Musk, you get somebody like a Jeff Bezos. What have they been doing? They've been automating, mobilization, automation, digitization, the mad world, or mutually assured destruction. In a mad world, I cooked this up in 2019 when I came up with that acronym. It's either mad world or sad world, which is stress, anxiety, depression. So what is that other AI? It's artificial intelligence and it's alien immigrants. AI. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Because the AI is playing God. It's the alpha iota. It's the 1 and the 9. Because the original 19 in this country, shout out to my brother. The original 19 in this country was the black body. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan opened up October 16, 6. He talked about that being an upside down 9, interchangeable, right? 1995, with the secret of the number 19. And I will be exposing all of this in the book so you can become a high-level observer like myself, right? At least this is the way I see things. This is my thought process. So let's get into it. So he said that, oh, I wish I had the video. Let me see if I got the video for y'all. Let me see if I can get him his words. Because typically I got this video. But if you were at the Minuteman March, or your father was, then they heard him say this, right? Marcus. Let's see if I can pull up this moment where he talked about this specific point in time. I want y'all to hear from him and not me, but I'm not, because I don't want to say it the wrong way. Let's see. It was so powerful. Oh, here we go. No, that's a special. I don't know if they aired the whole thing. All right. Well, I will give it to you on my phone, but I got it playing, so I can't do that. But I can just pull up the Minuteman March and go to that first scene. It's beautiful. Because I started calling myself 19 Keys before that, based on a quote from Masfar Muhammad, Allah God who came in a person, Masfar Muhammad. All right. I don't think it's going to be up here. Dang, I don't even see the Minuteman March. Oh, here it is. I'm going to put it up here so y'all can see it real quick. So let me see if I can get to that point. First of all, this is beautiful.
Thank you.
Day, moment, movement.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we thank Him for His prophets and the scriptures which they brought. We thank Him. My thanks and my extreme gratitude. My heartfelt involved with another agenda is the day that the Lord has made. What President Clinton sees in this day, he saw the great divide between black and white, of separation. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president.
Here it is. Here we are.
555.
Ooh, we about to get into some science.
That if there were to be a superior or inferior, he would.
All right.
Of separation. Abraham Lincoln said he never was in favor of our being jurors or having of this nation. Abraham Lincoln said that if there were to be a superior or inferior, he would rather the superior position be assigned to the white race. There in the middle of this mall is the Washington Monument, 555 feet high. But if we put a 1 in front of that 555 feet, we get 1555, the year that our first fathers landed on the shores of Jamestown, Virginia.
So there's a monument to Washington, right? If you look at the obelisk, and he said that it's 555 feet high. He said if you put a 1 in front of that, it represents the year that our forefathers came here, 1555, right? So he's breaking down the numerology and the Masonic secrets that are around us, right, in this ground. So let's get into that. And I know historically you were taught that it was 1619, and they said it was 16 or 19 bodies brought over here, but there's a hidden 64 years in the making of a slave where they had to master how to control the black body. Let's get to it.
Slaves. In the background, is the Jefferson and Lincoln Memorial. Each one of these monuments is 19 feet high. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president, Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd president, and 16 and 3 make 19 again.
Come on now, he breaking down. He say one is the 16th president, one is the 3rd president, and 16 and 3 make 19 again.
What is so deep about this number 19?
Ooh, what's so deep about it, brother? Talk to me, man. Y'all be thinking, listen, this 19 keys go much deeper than you can apply. You may imagine. It goes very, very deep. Let me slow this down a little bit. Let's slow that down. Let me hear what you got to say, black man. Oh, wait now. Where we at? Where you go? There we go.
Why are we standing on the Capitol steps today? That number 19, when you have a 9, you have a womb that is pregnant. And when you have a 1 standing by the 9, it means that there's something secret that has to be unfolded.
Wait a minute, run that back. What'd he say, Chad?
Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd president, and 16 and 3 make 19 again. What is so deep about this number 19?
Come on.
Why are we standing on the Capitol steps today? That number 19, when you have a 9, you have a womb that is pregnant. And when you have a 1 standing by the 9, it means that there's something secret that has to be unfolded. Right here on this mall where we are standing, according to books written on Washington, D.C., slaves used to be brought right here on this mall in chains to be sold up and down the eastern seaboard, right along this mall, going over to the White House. Our fathers were sold into slavery. But George Washington, the 1st president of the United States, said he feared that before too many years passed over his head, this slave would prove to become a most troublesome species of property. Thomas Jefferson said he trembled for this country when he reflected that God was just and that his justice could not sleep forever. Well, the day that these presidents feared has now come to pass. For on this mall, here we stand in the capital of America, and the layout of this great city laid out by a black man.
So let me pull this one down. So he talked about the secret of the number 19, right? And he said when that 1 is next to that 9, it represents, right, that number 9 is pregnant, and it represents that there is a secret to be unfolded. Now, this is not the first time he mentions the number 19, and he goes into it more, and I don't have time to give you just a complete breakdown. We'll do that at another time when we go deeper into it, right? But what he was explaining was that we were property, and the secret of America is the control of the black body. That they Frankenstein with us to control the black body. That's what they do. That's the secret of America, is the black body. We were the original property, the original cattle, the original stock, the original branding, right? The original insurance was taken off on a black body. Then you can go kill a black body and then you can collect the insurance money. That's how cold these devils was. So when you talk about they're afraid of that 19 that they've been able to control this entire time, that black body, because then when you break down DNA numerically based on D, N, and A, each numerical value, you add them all together, it's going to equal 19. So you understand that before we speak the alphabetic code, we speak the mathematical code, right? The numerical value of the alphabets. So when you see numbers, it's the same as if you see letters if you have the eyes to understand, because numbers represent frequency and vibration. And our number is that 19. There's only, all things exist between that 1 through 9. We are all nines. I mean, we are all ones. But when we are that one with that 9 and she's pregnant, oh, that's God body right there. So what they did in 1555 is try to keep the 1 and the 9 separated, meaning the black man and the black woman, because if you got the black family, then there is no keeping you down. You can only be kept down when it's disrupted. Ooh, let's get to it, right? So the age of AI, instead of saying 19, they just say AI. But what is A? Numerical value 1. A equals 1. And I is the 9th letter, which is I. So when you see the number 19, you see an AI. You see AI, you see a 19 as well. So what they're doing is playing God. I can go deeper. So if the body, if they can't continue to control the body, right? You got too much influence now. Brothers are setting you got a whole, you talking about creating your own networks. Oh, let's put the allegations on them. Let's do that. And he's probably guilty anyway, but y'all wait to do it because you say this nigga got too much power. We ain't got time for that little funky Negro to rise. He controlling the Super Bowl. Now let's get him on out of here. He want to buy a station. Let's get him on out of here. Oh, he told me he the richest black man in the world. Let's get him on out of here. Nah. Oh, he gonna move a nation to economic. Oh, Martin Luther King out of here. Oh, Malcolm X out of here. Fred Hampton out of here. Huey B. Newton out of here. Marcus Garvey out of here. What? Because what were they trying to do the whole time to stop this troublesome Negro from rising and controlling himself? That's all they've been trying to do. Is like, look, y'all good as long as you work for me. And it's cool. But the moment you talking about working for yourself, we got an issue with that. So all they've been trying to do is that. And then, of course, the conflict is, as long as they can continue to create conflict within our community, we will destroy ourselves. So this brother not real. This brother not real. Where this brother come from? What this brother doing? Why he wearing that crowd? Why he doing that? That's all. And a lot of us are unwitting participations in the devil's schemes. They don't know. They think they got just enough knowledge to make them ignorant. They don't know. All right, so they don't want to pay you anymore. They definitely don't want to pay you what you're worth. How do we know? Wage suppression. Let's get back. This is a very key foundation. This is why Black Americans are no longer being hired for Black American stories. It's wage suppression. You're getting too big for your bridges. They said, wait a minute now. We don't want to have to keep paying y'all. Let's go get a European black man, one from London, to play Martin Luther King, one to play Harriet Tubman. We ain't got time to be hiring black people. They gonna want too much money. Taraji P. Henson talking about she ain't getting paid enough. Wait a minute, we ain't got time for that. Wage suppression. The rich want to stay rich. And the black man is trying to get rich. He's trying to accumulate assets. He's trying to do too much. He's trying to manage himself. He wants too much power, too much influence. Put him back in his place. He wilding out. Wage suppression. They want to keep getting rich. They don't want you to ever gain enough equity based on your true value. So they create systems of metrics and policies of evaluations and things of that nature. So only time you can say you're worth something if they tell you what you're worth. Okay. So let's bring in alien immigrants. So the left said, let's bring in the immigrants to pat the numbers, to do the jobs that Americans don't want to do. Because it's not just black people, of course. There's an issue that's happening with white America. They're not having enough babies, right? There's towns that becoming ghost towns and being abandoned because there's not enough people to work. So there's no productivity, there's no energy output, there's no people to manage. So we bring in the AI. Let's bring in the alien immigrants. Companies are not being able to attract the same type of talent, right? Workers are slow in productivity or creativity, and they don't want to have to pay more people as people are demanding higher wages. Why? Inflation is hitting, asset prices are going up. So people are saying that, damn, I need to make more money if I ever want to have the ability to retire, buy me a home, right? Have a certain standard of living in the future. So they say, well, how about we just automate our processes and we bring in alien immigrants? Imagine if you're a business owner. Wouldn't it be cheaper than when you go hire immigrants, right, at minimum wage? Or you just implement AI in your business to not hire another human being to deal with human capital costs? Exactly. Pay attention. Pay attention. All right, let's get into. I think we cooking. We cooking, chat. Are we cooking, chat? Let me know. So let's get more into it. This is stuff I'll be studying, y'all. I can go deep and deep and deep. I can't wait to go on tour because I got some stuff I'm saving for the tour. We got some reports. We gonna go deep into the age of 19. We'll go deep into this cosmism and this age of immortality. By the way, we are in a cosmic age. And what we are supposed to do is we're supposed to resurrect our ancestors through us. See, I put on this hat. They be like, man, you trying to be like Elijah Muhammad. You want that energy he had. Well, humbly, I do. I don't think that, they say you made in the image of your father. Yeah, I want to be in the image. Now, do you have the likeness is the question. The likeness is what we have to work on. The minimum is the image. Because you can be in the image of your father. Boy, you look just like your pops. What if your pops is a genius? What if your pops is disciplined? What if your pops is rich and a great fighter and he got all these Renaissance traits? They're going to be like, but you're nothing like your pops. Because you can have an image, but do you have the likeness? So I don't think I got that perfection. I don't think I stand up to the likeness of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I think that's something you strive for. But the image, I can at least get the image down and then strive into the likeness. That's the whole goal. So I don't see how somebody be mad at that when I see the image of most of these cats is just niggas. You just wearing your favorite team. You just wearing a brand, right? What is that image? That ain't God body. Nah. So a lot of times you get a lot of hate and jealousy because people ain't think of it first. But that's why you got sometimes you gotta pop out and you gotta show them. You know what I'm talking about? You feel me? I know I ain't got the likeness of Elijah Muhammad. Yeah, I still got a lot of nigga in me I gotta get out of rid of. You know what I'm saying? I still got that in me I gotta get rid of. We still striving. Alhamdulillah, we can get there. We still striving though. You feel me? We ain't got there yet. I still got some savage that I got to get out my system. You know what I'm saying? So allow me to grow. Allow me to work. All right. I got two minds. You know what I'm talking about? We working on ourselves though. So the AI is poised to redefine the labor markets, but the promise comes with peril. By automating repetitive tasks, AI suppresses wage. It erodes the value of human labor, right? As robots replace workers, the economic worth of human capital approaches to zero, exacerbating existing inequalities. Now, this is something I've been talking about since 2019, which I talked about in my New America thesis. A lot of people didn't understand the value of it having a much smaller platform at the time. And it was like, why aren't you talking about AI taking our jobs and human capital going to zero? Because I'm like, well, if we can see it, right, coming, then maybe we can offset it. And for a lot of people, I have been able to offset that, right? So a lot of people heard the trumpet sounding and they start getting themselves together, developing the traits needed to be future-proof, the assets needed to be future-proof, and this is what we're focusing on, right? What is the likeness in which we need to go into to be future-proof? And as I was saying before, part of our cosmic era that we're going in now is the resurrection of our ancestors, right? We talk about honoring our ancestors. Let's resurrect them. Let's bring them back to life through us and our actions. When we look at the good deeds and the things that they've done, the foundations, the ideologies, the thought processes, the frameworks, the blueprints, let's embody that and bring them back to life in our spirit, in our time, right? So that none of their work, right? Number one, it doesn't disappear. It doesn't go for naught. All of it can be resurrected in our time so that our ancestors are immortalized through our actions and our work. That's the age that we in. It's a cosmic age. And part of that age is us solidifying that resurrection. But that resurrection has to be solidified through our work. We talk about the resurrection of Jesus. How do you resurrect Christ? You take on that anointed presence of that Christ-like, right? Striving and action in today's time. And Christ is forever resurrected. But same thing, how do we do that for our ancestors? How do we resurrect our ancestors? Well, be like them. Be like them. But be it in an authentic and real way that's to you. I've been going to Muslim schools my whole life since I was young. I grew up in the nation. I grew up in the mosque, right? I grew up in a paradigm of consciousness on the West Coast. So my upbringing is different because I see Black men with their own economy at scale, right? In Oakland, California. So I seen what power looked like, but I also seen what the failure of that looked like as well. So I had a real life example in my eyes. I seen the streets fall. I seen so many different things. So that in itself was the perfect storm, right? To help me develop my perspective, right? And the likeness that I have today. And so for me, it was designing who is 19 Keys. And I think we all get to design what our image is and what our likeness is. And we strive to make our likeness like our image. And that's the journey, right? But let's get back into this economics. I'm not going to be able to finish all of this today, right? But this is why you need to understand cryptocurrency, right? Because if assets are rising and those costs are too high, wage suppression, you're not making enough money, physical labor won't get you there, and mental labor is now being outsourced to artificial intelligence. I don't even have time to go over all the other AIs, alien invasion, right? There's a war on artificial ingredients. We're seeing that play out right now with RFK, which is another AI. You have a baby bust, which is artificial insemination. So there's multiple. Then you have artificial information, which is even another one. So you have to be careful with these things that's being crafted. But why will we go into cryptocurrency? Why will we look at that? I don't look at it like it's a savior. I believe it's part of this one world agenda that they're building up. But see, as the world is being built up, here's the thing. I'm not impressed by Bitcoin as this savior coin, as this savior currency, right? Why? Because they own it. And I've said this since the beginning on record, and I have multiple occasions. I'm only impressed if we own it. So I'm not impressed by it because we don't own it. Blockchain impresses me because it's a technology that we can use to save ourselves. Meaning that we can create our own banking systems. We can create our own interest systems. We can create our own loaning systems. We can create our own tokenization of housing systems, right? We can create our own economy and nation networks. So all the things that we looked at and say, they own it, they own it, they own it. We'll never get control. You can never compete with that. the whole idea of the blockchain is that these are these existing technologies that we can utilize. The problem with the millennial generation, because crypto is mostly a populist movement, right? It's a rebellious movement to revolt against the centralized powers that be. So even waiting on regulation and institutions to get into it, for you jump into it, and for them to validate you needing to get into it, takes away from the revolutionary standard of belief to have in cryptocurrency in the first place. Instead, my approach going to 2025 is, how do we build with it? We sound the alarm. We were correct in our theses about the future. Now is, how do we build with it? How do we take the same existing models and blueprints and then also have more innovative ones? How do we raise our own Bitcoin funds like MicroStrategy do to leverage 25 to 35% of that, to then go over and be able to buy those existing things that we need? How do we utilize blockchain to develop these systems, to create our own Web3 models of social media to where we control it, and it's based on our energy regulation? But see, the reason why you have to invest in cryptocurrency is because it's going to be the one asset that the wealthy are storing their wealth in. So as asset prices rise, they have somewhere that their money is going into as well. So in these times, you have to do like the wealthy do, because it's going to outpace human capital. It's going to outpace the labor markets, meaning that no matter how much hard work that you put in, if you want to double and triple your hard work, you take your money that you get from the labor market, working your job 4 ways based on your energy output, and then you put it into cryptocurrency, which it requires a lot of energy to create that. And then as that energy goes up, right, that currency, which is a form of energy, which is all just energy exchange. You're not buying crypto, you're exchanging one form of energy for another. I mean, hey, I work 10 hours. Now, where can I take that same time and energy and work that I put in, and where can I get increase? So you take that 10 hours that you did, compartmentalize, they give you a banknote for it, or they give you a deposit that shows you some numbers that you have in the bank, right? That's connected to your social and your account number. Then you take that and you translate that into cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, right? Which connected to the blockchain on these nodes. You buy you some Satoshis. Those Satoshis over the next 6 years, let's say they go up to $1 million. So now your money just went up. So that same work that you did without doing anything else, by just parking that instead of putting it into the bank, what you're going to see when the masses start offloading and putting all their money in Bitcoin, that's when it's going to be too late. When you go ask your mama, your auntie down the street, and you say, you got Bitcoin? They're like, I got it. That's when it's too late. If America needs to buy Bitcoin because the dollar is going down and they need that to offset the value of the dollar, then why would you hold your value in dollars? So crypto is inevitable. Now, there's a report that came out. Let me see if I can pull up some of this. About the way you go about doing it. A report from PIP and the financial intelligence of the crypto community. So let me pull this up real quick. Let's go to, actually, what if I can create a quick presentation out of this? Share screen. Let's go down here. Screenshot. Where's the screenshot I can share? And window. Give me a second. I want to see if I can share this with you. But I was essentially going to share this screenshot that comes from this report that was put out
almost
this year.
all of the news that we see around war is propaganda. I mean, it's legal propaganda at the same time. You understand me? That during wartime that they don't have to.
Hey, I was dropping some truth, but that's not what I was. It's not what I was pulling up. It's not what I was pulling up. Mr. Keys. Okay. So I'm gonna just go off this. I wanted y'all to follow along with me. I'm trying to make some of these a little more interactive for y'all as I'm doing these slides. All right, there is an AI I use sometimes to create slides. It's called beautiful.ai. There's another one that is even easier than that. Get the name of it at the moment. Where it used to take me all day to create presentations, right? Now it's very easy. Huh. Let me see if I can get this done in like 10 seconds for y'all. By just uploading these pictures. Media kit. All right, I don't want to keep y'all waiting too long, and I have to eat after this. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to go over these myself. And then in the Infinite Wealth Strategies, if you are in my community, then I will share those slides with you and or a link to those slides. Okay. Let's see, I might be able to do it here. So if you look at this slide right here, say financial literacy rates in the Black community, in the crypto community. So those people who are financially literate in the crypto community is 24.5%, right? Those who have no or low literacy is 75.6%, right? Now, let me go to the next slide. Oh, no, that's just a disclosure. Bombowski. Let me make sure you got the right ones. Okay. So the crypto community lacks the global average in making informed financial decisions. So as much as I want people to be in cryptocurrency, I want people to also be financially and economically literate as well, so you make better decisions. Now, this was interesting data that was taken from PIPS, and they have a way that they quantify this data. I don't take it as 100%, but it does give you some view of the landscape of the cryptocurrency community, right? And how the effects of having financial literacy may impact, and also who are some of those who do the best when it comes to cryptocurrency as well. Now, I found it interesting. Let's see, where is it right here? It says that high financial literacy is a key driver of significant wins in the crypto market, right? Now, there's another point where it talks about how also you have holders, right? And those that are in communities as well do the best when it comes to cryptocurrency, right? There's actual information and models on this, so you don't have to guess when you're a part of it. Now, the reason I wanted to bring that up, of course, is because I've been saying this for a very long time. You don't want to do crypto by yourself, right? If you've been looking at a lot of the predictive trends that's been going on, so there's what they call the prediction market, right? Where people are basically coming to these communities and voting and deciding what they believe is going to be the next big thing, right? So they vote on things like Donald Trump is called the poly market, right? But it's the same thing that happens in a community. In a community, you get to find things you normally wouldn't find on your own, right? Y'all get to source with each other. So it's one of the best places to be in if you're trying to make gains in the crypto market. Now, if you just want to, you know, if you just want to, I don't even take this image away. If you just want to invest in Bitcoin, then just do that, right? There's nothing to teach. There's just you dollar cost averaging, which is you taking the same amount of money every week. If you want to make some gains in it, right, then you need to know what AI coins, what's the new trend, what's the new sentiment, because it also shows that people who follow the trends, they have done better, surprisingly, right? People who hold and people who are in communities, and of course, people who have financial literacy. Now, this report was done before, right, Bitcoin took off. So this wasn't even having as optimistic outlook on Bitcoin, which I like better because you get a lot more, I think, false positives on Bitcoin now because everybody is up. It says the FUD in the majors and meme coin outstrips the positive sentiment. Right after the majors, Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana meme coins dominated the conversation, with their communities being vocal about their trading experience. Right, so the meme coin people are much louder than those people who are buying in the altcoins. Oh, let me see. How do I take this image away? Let me see. All right, there we go. Let's get back to it. So in this market, you want to have some data because there are a lot of people that's just buying into the FOMO, which there was interesting data that the people who buy into FOMO have high financial literacy. But that kind of makes sense because and it seems counterintuitive, but it's mostly because those are people who usually not in it, and they're not in it because they're more risk adverse, and they believe their financial literacy is the reason that they're not getting into it. But then they get FOMO, seeing everybody else getting into it, and they like, wait a minute, I might miss out on this, then let me buy in. So it's very interesting, and a lot of those people end up losing. Then they have a negative experience, and then that makes them want to stay away from crypto altogether. But I'm here to tell you, it don't really matter what your feelings are. Cryptocurrency is here to stay. Cashless societies, countries creating their own, currency-backed digital coins, that's here to stay. And I want to implore all of you all to buy you some gold, buy you some crypto, hold. Get as many assets you can. I don't care whether that's art. There was an NFT called the Pudgy Penguins. It's past Bitcoin right now at $100,000. You want to accumulate as much as you can because wealth in the future is not guaranteed. After the next 6 years, you have about a real solid 4 years to just accumulate assets. But why? So that you can have a standard of living in the future. Because what is a standard of living? If you want to own a house, you want to own a car, you want to be able to travel, right? What is money and how are you going to be able to do those things? Because those things continue to rise in price, they become more unaffordable. And if you're not making more money, then you lose. But if you have assets that become worth more money, then your net worth is consistently rising and you can leverage against that. So your value goes up as the world becomes more expensive. So the wealthy usually focus on just wealth preservation. They're not really thinking about taking a huge risk, which is why they slow to get into cryptocurrency, because they really don't want to have to focus on managing money. They just want to preserve the wealth that they have, right, and pass it down over time. But as things become more and more volatile, then they have to get into these things, but they want it to be regulated. They want all these things to be around it first before they're willing to risk their wealth in these things. So I implore everybody to join into a crypto community, right? So that you can calculate and take the risk that you need to develop skill sets, right? That you need, whether it's learning options, whether it's learning stocks, whether you're learning the skill set of selling, you're learning how to market, brand, create a business, right? Invest in yourself so that you can then take that existing money, park it in Bitcoin, buy assets so that you can control your future. That's what we're doing in Infinite Wealth Strategies. We're adding, of course, you get your ebooks when you join. We just made an announcement that we're going to be bringing back our mental, masculine, and feminine development classes for the community, because I think a huge thing right now is being an action taker. And a lot of masculine, a lot of men aren't masculine, a lot of women aren't feminine. They have the opposite issues, and it's stopping them from being in balance to be able to take action. We got all this information, but not a lot of action. Oh, you said, how do you join? My bad, I should have put this up. So you can click this if you want to join, right? $444, you get access right now for the next 6 months. Which means you won't have to renew all the way to June. My goal, oh, excuse me, I'm eating this chocolate in front of y'all. It's called Supermind Chocolate. I haven't even put this. We actually did put this out. I'm just bad at promoting. People think all I got is gold water. We got hella products. 2025, y'all gonna know this. But Infinite Wealth Strategies, you get access. First priority is making sure that you're in position. AI cryptos are about to boom. I gave the community some cryptos. They already up. I was mad at some people because they didn't get in position. And I keep telling people, listen, the information is only as valuable as the execution. I don't care what you know. It's about what you do. And right now, we need action takers. People that's willing to execute. People that take the information and they run with it. We don't just need people around saying, oh, I know this, I know that. No, what are you doing with it? That's the whole key to this whole thing. So people that's a part of it, make sure you join and execute on it. I was so mad because I had that Penley crypto in there. Now, some people took advantage of it because the first thing I want you to do is get your money back, right? And then we have a trophy room in there, and then you let me know when you got your money back. So you investing in these things, and we teach you different strategies to where you're not just going in there and say, oh, let me just hope. No. If it goes up a certain percentage, ask yourself, what's your strategy? And we're going to give you multiple strategies. Next week, we're doing a strategy call. Well, I'll be breaking down at least 3 to 4 strategies that you can utilize for 2025 when it comes to the crypto market. We teach you tokenomics, which is token economics. So you learn how to find the coins, looking at them on your own, which wallets to use, right? It's very beginner friendly, so you're not making mistakes. This knowledge push people in position. I've had students who took this knowledge and then created their own communities. Don't let nobody discourage you, right? There's a lot of people that's going to discourage you from getting into this industry, right? Don't listen to them, because those are the same people that wish they would have got in early. You can't tell me anybody that's talking about crypto and said, I wish I would have got in early. I wish I would have got in 10 years ago. But let me tell you, you're early. Even just now, you're trying to get in before countries. You're trying to get in before everybody in your neighborhood. You're trying to get in before all your friends. You're trying to get in before everybody really catches on what's going on with the world. You got globalization. You got nationalism, right? You have the replacement of the job market and the labor market, which is going to continue to intensify as robots and automation continue to come in. People are looking where to store their money. If I can't make money by working hard, where can I put my money so my money works hard? So these just become natural viable options. The world is shifting, right? And unfortunately, this is happening. I wish it wasn't happening, because a lot of people get caught into that undercurrent. If you want to be confident about your future, then you need to be confident about what you know about the future and the strategies that you have into place to make sure you're doing the right thing, not only for you, but for your children. Because the currency that they're going to utilize, it ain't going to be the dollar. It ain't going to be the dollar. So they're going to be asking you, what was you doing when 19 Keys was teaching this? What was you doing when the whole world was shifting? You just watched the information. You didn't execute. You thought your dollar actually, if you think your dollar is so valuable that you don't want to exchange it for something more valuable, you do not have a winning mindset. You don't have a winning mindset and you're not going to be ready. And I know a lot of people, they're not going to be ready. And some people right now, they saying, I wish I had. And then there's some people that's just holding on to it. And that's fine. That's on you. At the same time, I only want people that are action takers. I don't want people that's afraid. I don't want people to say, this is my last. If you even think like that, you don't understand what it means to be an infinite wealth strategist. Infinite wealth means that we live in a world of abundance and all you need is a strategy to get you some, right? So anybody that thinks like that, stay away, stay far away. I only want people in a circle that think wealthy, right? Because I want to be able to build with you all. I want everybody to be up and then we buying assets together, right? When opportunities come and we got a travel group and we turn this from just the online to the physical, to the travel, to the retreats, right? To a brotherhood, to a sisterhood, right? To a real nation network movement. All those things that the nation used to have. Why can't we go buy those things together? Why can't we say, hey, you got a whole Bitcoin, I got a whole Bitcoin. Let's put our Bitcoins together. We don't have to spend the Bitcoin. We put the Bitcoin in the treasury. And then the treasury is we borrow against the Bitcoin. Now let's go buy this company. We buy this company. Now, as a collective, our money is working for us tenfold. We get to start playing real smart with this. So ask yourself, what are you a part of for the future? Because if you're not noticing, there's going to be a trend when people become more religious. They hold on to their identities, right? And they're going to be a part of these communities that are consolidated. So for me, this is the beginning of that. When we believe in that collective nation state network. That's what this means to me. That's what being a part of this community is all about. We only talk about crypto because, number one, that is a currency in which we will utilize to exchange. But once you get in, you realize, like, I've made authors, right? We teach people the mental development of self. You're going to be getting access to the communication classes to mastery, right? You're going to be getting access to all of these different things that is going to greatly outweigh whatever issues, problems, debt that you have. And the goal is to have that freedom. Not enough of us are mentally expansive right now to where you travel enough and things of that nature to where you can even see the playing field for what it is. Being able to focus, ignore the noise, and get straight to it, that's going to be the most valuable thing in the world for 2025. I ain't going to lie, it's a lot of noise out here. And if you can interpret that noise, it can become a signal. But a lot of us don't even know where to start. We don't know how to get over our learning issues. We don't know how to get over our ego, right? We constantly in our mind about things versus learning how to develop those skill sets to execute. So anyway, I look forward to building with you all on the inside. Let me bring this down. This has been a great broadcast. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you have, please screenshot this right here. And if you have cryptocurrency and you want to pay with crypto, also, we're going to be giving discounts for people that want to pay with crypto. But you got to DM me and I got to handle the transaction personally. But listen, if you enjoyed this and you got value from this, comment one, comment yes. If you enjoyed this and you got value from this, comment yes. We're going on tour very soon. February 7th. Be prepared. New York City. Tickets going on sale soon. They're going to sell out, inshallah, first day. So You want to make sure you're on the list. You got to go to 19keys.com/tour. If you got value from this, please screenshot and share with your community with the link so that they can get value as well. Because the more of you on the same like-mindedness, the more your world grows and you got allies in this fight with you. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to be doing more of these reports. If you want me to do more of these, go on my Twitter, comment, send me messages, DM me, let me know. What would you like for me to do a report on next? And we're going to be going in. On 19 Keys. Let's be on 19 report. Peace to the gods. Oh, and if you want to get any merch, they say I never talk about merch. Click here. We're building out our athleisure brand very soon. So you can check out what we have here. So just kindly either screenshot that or, scan it, depending on wherever you're watching it from. So you can check out everything that we have here. We have a lot of exclusive merch on there, but we're going to start our vlog for our athleisure wear brand, luxury athleisure wear, because we're really trying to get the bodies up. In the Infinite Wealth Strategies, we will, in the High Level Club, we will be sharing workout routines and things of that nature so that the community can get together for 2025 and get yourself together. We don't just want gangs in a wallet. We want gangs in the gym as well. You know what I'm talking about? Look at me trying to flex and stuff. Y'all see me do a little flex. Anyway, you too can flex. Let's get it together, man. Peace to everybody that's been getting their stuff together. You feel me? And been shining, man. Peace to the gods.